Okay, what I'd like to do now is to read what I call the manifesto. Spirit has given me this topic weeks in advance for this time in history, and I have lots of ideas on the subject, but I need to channel my soul, so I do, for a few paragraphs to help guide the meeting with major concepts. So let's listen to this manifesto as I read it and see what resonates for you. Be happy again. 4 steps to leave negative realities. Okay, this is big. The earth cannot take any more abuse, and you can't take it either. Can we leave negative realities forever to be truly happy again without the old escapism of hoping and waiting for bad stuff to just go away? Is there a progression of personal growth, a way to engage the best destiny that we've always dreamed? Thank goodness the answer is yes. The universe always says yes. Join us this Sunday, March 16, 2025, for a free, empowering talk on the 4 steps to freedom that you need to release old negative lifestyles and live happy ever after. Beyond the thoughts of good versus evil, there are actually no devils, only wounded people acting badly, while your angelic helpers are forever real to help you, heal you going forward. The key to all this is love, which is so much more than just another 4-letter word. Not everyone has to be ready for the truth, but you are. Love is an umbrella term for the nurturing principles of life itself, from a living, loving universe that knows and cares about you. Negativity is the denial and disempowerment that says you are not a beloved child of creation who is destined for your own unlimited creatorship, when in fact, of course, you are. Positive true beliefs say all of this and more, that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. Your human body is your gift from the earth to guide you home to the paradise already planned at higher levels of your own eternal consciousness. Human beings are designed to desire predestined happiness with exciting opportunities to feel more alive every day. Seek and ye shall find. False negative beliefs, they trap people in false promises for how to reach the happiness and safety that they need. The tragedy is when good, honest human beings suffer the lies of abusers who say that they're helping when really they're causing a harm. In today's world, we see the madness of those who defend the indefensible and deny the truth of what's needed to survive, much less thrive. Some call it Stockholm Syndrome. That's when humans, who are social creatures, they get used to being treated badly just for the chance to belong to a family. There's a misplaced trust and intimacy that grows in the closeness of abusive relationships where the victim is kept alive for exploitation. The condition, Stockholm Syndrome, it's named after the hostages of a long, tense bank robbery in Sweden. After being freed, the hostages felt sorry for their captors. They refused to testify against them and even paid for their legal defense fund. So people can get addicted to survivalism, including the adrenaline of constant threat and the love of trauma bonding. Addictions happen when an activity that once offered some comfort is over-relied upon for diminishing returns. A past coping skill becomes an increasingly painful limitation. We need to awaken to our true creator power to change, to leave old abusive lifestyle addictions and enjoy more of our own divine destiny. Life cannot stagnate at an earlier form of success. Life is the direction of continual growth and improvement. How you try to improve yourself depends on your beliefs. Materialism says that all that matters is this physical stuff of life. Therefore, we must always seek more things and control over them. But this attitude leads to endless insecurity, and hoarding, as it encourages selfish, uncooperative behaviors that degrade the entire ecosystem. False negative beliefs will say that your survival depends on what you can beg and borrow and steal from other people. And that is what keeps you bonded to survivalist suffering communities. Spirituality, on the other hand, says that life is a consciousness journey to always learn more about how perfectly and wonderfully the universe supports eternal life. Our true security is based on relationships in loving systems of sustainable cooperation and sharing. So when you find yourself in a situation that's not good for you, don't get stuck in the 4 survival reactions of fight, flight, freeze, or appease. Trust yourself to discover a new solution that you didn't previously imagine. True positive beliefs will teach your destiny to be the unlimited creator of your own endless health, wealth, and happiness. So for this meetup, congratulate yourself for making it this far in life. You did the best that you knew how. You survived. Then be honest about where you feel stuck. You're hurting and you're tired of the same old battles to survive. You just can't go on the same old ways. You need and want a new solution to grow in true happiness again. After check-ins to share and relate, I will explain the 4 steps of evolution that empower your consciousness to co-create with the source of life itself. The human being, the human potential, the metaphysical human, and the spiritual human. No more waiting to be served or saved by somebody else. You are the one you're waiting for. And we'll conclude with a journey meditation to welcome ourselves home with more of our higher self and soul family. So I mentioned there the 4 survival reactions. These are interesting to think about. So you've heard about fight and flight. Fight is at the physical level when you're, battling. Flight is more of an emotional level where you just run away. I also mentioned freeze and appease. So freeze is more of the mental level where you can't think of what to do. You just shut down in a panic and you hope to survive, sort of a playing possum, playing dead. You can disassociate. And appease, otherwise known as fawn, which is like faking it, or I used to call this blind faith, but I like freeze and appease, how they rhyme, like fight and flight. So appease is at the spiritual level where you have misguided, misplaced trust in your values I'm just going to go along with this and blindly trust that this will be good for me. So appeasing, you're going along with it. You're trying to convince yourself that it'll be okay. In some way you're faking it and you hope to make it, but with false negative beliefs, you're never going to make it. So survivalism, those 4 major approaches, you try to notice them and pull yourself out and do something more real, which is where you be with your human emotions that are pointing out what's right or wrong in your life, and then be with your spiritual self who works on the solutions that you are guided to from your higher self. There really are solutions in life. You don't need to stay stuck in survival. Survival is fine for a very short time, and then you need to move on. Otherwise, if you get stuck, you're going to become increasingly negative, increasingly uncaring, unempathic to your own suffering and survivalism, and certainly not able to care about the suffering of others. Let me get into the main talk here. So thank you, everyone. It's nice to have the feedback sharing time because we can see where people are at. And it's like, obviously, we're all in a lot of stress and distress. It's a really tough year. So this is a really relevant topic. Is there an actual path to getting out of the negative realities forever? That would mean getting out of the negative beliefs forever. And yes, there is a path to it. It's the path of empowerment. Really, we're not going to be happy, we're not going to be safe, we're not going to be secure until we learn to create our own reality. Okay? It's like there are all these ways in which we've been encouraged from day one. We've been encouraged, like, you got to make your life work. You got to do this. You got to do that. Be a self-made person, work on your destiny. It's like there's a lot of, lifting yourself by your bootstraps, a lot of be as successful as you can imagine. There's a lot of success culture, okay? The problem is that a lot of that ends up worshiping the money, the power, the things, and that's not what's really important. What's important is to be able to pursue success enough that you tune into the source of all success, which is your inner guidance, your inner being. So true empowerment is learning to create success in the world, but then get the lessons from that to get to your guidance, to tap into your soul, your higher self. So I'll draw a diagram for all of this stuff, but that's what I'm going to talk about, is 4 steps of the evolution of empowerment, where it can start from being very physical, kind of human oriented, like I just want stuff, how do I get stuff? But what we're trying to get to is the source of all wisdom, of all knowledge, of all guidance, of how to get what you need in life. Because obviously, I mean, our society has become more and more information oriented. We have all the solutions. We have the science. We have the resources. This is something that Buckminster Fuller would often lament about. Many of you have heard of Buckminster Fuller. He was a great visionary in the earlier, like, mid 1900s. Seems so long ago now. Yes, but the point is that Buckminster Fuller, he was a great humanitarian visionary. He also had a lot of spiritual guidance. He came up with a lot of solutions, like geodesic domes. We're all familiar with geodesic domes. He invented that. He came up with a lot of the geometry of architecture that works so well. Anyway, the point is that he was one of the people who lamented, like, look, we have all the technology, we have all the abilities to solve the world problems. We could solve hunger, we could solve this, we could do that. Why aren't we doing it? Why is the willingness not there? The ability is there, but then the willingness is not there. That's the false negative belief systems that are scaring people, so that we're always staying in survival, thinking like, well, yeah, someday it would be nice to have this, but in the meantime, I got to do this, I got to grab this, I got to steal this, I got to maximize my survival. We need to get out of the survivalism. We need to be able to harvest the lessons of whatever successes we have. We all have successes to learn from. It doesn't mean you have to earn $1 million or be the most popular person or whatever to be able to appreciate the wealth and success of your life. We all have lots to appreciate in our life. Appreciation, gratitude, that is the path of tuning into where is your life working and what are the spiritual lessons from that. Because anything that's working in your life, it doesn't mean like, oh my God, that's the one thing that I have to amplify and maximize and become rich at that one thing. Anything that's working in your life, it simply means that's where you allowed guidance. That's where you allowed your true self to come through. That's where you allowed your love to come through. So learn to tune into the love, the source, the guidance for all of that. And then you can be in the willingness of an information society where, yes, all we need is the information. All we need is the answers, the right guidance, because we've already got plenty of ability, plenty of resources. We can still fix the world. We can still heal the planet. We can still heal ourselves if we just know the right thing to do. So that's, again, back to that idea of like, you have all the answers inside of you. Learn to follow those answers. Learn to tune in. Learn to trust yourself and let your greater being come through. So let's do a little diagram here, and then definitely I want to get some very significant concepts through today. So let me go as efficiently as I can. So so newcomers get to see my Carl's diagrams here with the stick figures. Okay, so here's you on planet Earth. Here's your human being on planet Earth. And here is the source. Okay, we visualize the source, the background, wisdom, and love of the universe. To have a fundamental belief that there even is such a thing. A lot of people are so lost going down paths that make them emotionally, mentally ill, because they don't even believe that there's a source. They don't even believe that there's a love of the universe. They don't even believe that there's a God, goddess, great spirit, creator, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people are sadly thinking that it's just a dog-eat-dog world, that it's just competition, that there's no greater love, no greater guidance. And so that's why we see so many people. They may, in their ideal moments, value love, that kindness, that caring, that helping people. But in day-to-day survival, they think, no, it's just me. I just got to do whatever will maximize my survival, the things that I need, like food, money, whatever. And that's the issue, is that if you're not tapped into a relationship with the living, loving universe, then you will always be insecure. Relationships are the source of security. Things, objects that can be consumed, that don't last, that's not the source of any security. So all these people who are thinking like, if I just get another $1 million, if I just get more likes, if I just get more this, more that, then I'll be secure. Forget it. Notice whenever you're going in that direction of thinking like, I just need more things, I just need to accomplish more stuff, that'll make me secure. I got this done, but I can't really celebrate it because I got to hurry on and do 10 more things. That stress of like, I've got to keep going, got to keep doing, and people burn out. With the best intentions, even like, these people they're doing wonderful things, but they burn out so quickly because they never get into the relationship with the universe, with the source that was behind everything that works. So you got to build relationships in life, and your most fundamental relationship is your relationship to the living, loving universe, to the source, to this, what I'm visualizing up here as this, a part of a giant circle. Now realize this is a map. Physical life is a kind of map. You're spreading things out. It doesn't mean they're actually disconnected. It doesn't mean that you're down here on Earth and the source is up here and you got to somehow get to it. The source is inside you, all around you. Everything is here now. There's an eternal, mystical moment that you can tap into. This is why they often recommend meditation, and the paradox of like, if you want to get more done, slow down. Do what you're doing better first, and then you'll get better at doing everything. So slow down if you want to go faster. You tune into the eternal moment where things work, where everything is there. So it's a map. The human being is here, and a sense of the source of the guidance, everything that can work and does work is up here. And your soul is we'll picture it as a circle within the circle. So, but remember, your soul, you're part of the source. It's really, you are the entire universe expressing itself from your position. What is the best thing for you to do in a certain situation? How can you contribute? What is your purpose? What will make everyone happier and healthier? That is your soul guiding you. And you're part of the source. And all the other souls are networking up here. So at the soul level, it's the source's job to network all the souls, and it's the soul's job to be their true selves. That is all you really need to do to succeed in life. You don't have to have the right connections. You don't have to have a certain amount of money. You don't have to have the right job. You don't have to know the right people. Just be the real you. That is all the universe is asking us, each of us, to do. Be the real you, because the real you is already pre-planned to be totally successful, totally connecting with a thriving universe. You be the real you, you will become more of your soul, you will know the right thing to do in every situation, and the source will guide you to the right situations where you can be yourself. That is so far removed from the kind of stuff we were raised with, though. There are all these layers and layers of false negative beliefs that say you're nothing, you're nobody, you got to build yourself, you got to get the right connections, you got to get the right job. So people hyper-focus on making things happen instead of allowing things to happen from your relationship with the universe, with the source. So you do have this natural connection, this flow of energy from the source that would always guide you to the right thing to do, the right place to do it. And in early in evolution, because we're going to talk about the evolution of power and how once and for all to be in a full relationship with the universe. That's the goal, to be in a full conscious relationship with the universe, so you always are guided, you know the right thing to do and where to do it, when to do it, all of that divine timing stuff. That's the goal. So early humans, human animals, there are no more human animals, but that sense of you can touch into it when you're really backed into a corner, when you're really freaking out, when you're in a panic mode and you're just like, I got to do something to survive. That's sort of the animal state. Well, early humans, they would have been just guided by their instincts, just like all the animals in nature. Nature is so lovely because it's so refreshing, because you get a sense of like the system works. All the creatures are just following their guidance, following their instincts. Instincts are your soul guiding you what's the best thing to do. Now, consciousness naturally grows. you notice that you can be conscious of something, and then you become aware of yourself doing that. And what you want to do, the goal is to be conscious enough that you are done with, you have a kind of conclusion, a kind of closure with a state of being. So people who very quickly feel like, that makes me angry, let me rush out and do something violent, they're not being with their anger long enough to really benefit from that state of being. All states of being have a positive outcome. The negativity often happens when people push things away, say like, oh, I'm angry, no more of that, I'm done, I just need to run out and like make something like go away. Like, negativity is about negating. It's about invalidating. It's about burning bridges instead of building bridges. Positive energy is about saying, look, there's a positive use for everything. How can I tune into myself enough to be guided in my relationship with the source to know what's the best thing to do to build bridges, to make connections, to make peace with everything? And your mind, certainly my mind, quickly skips ahead to like, well, what's the good use of negativity? What's the good use of a murderer? What's the good use of horrible things that can happen in the world? Well, yeah, it's more of a preventative medicine. It's more of knowing what not to do. The positive use of negativity is seeing like, I could do that and I don't do that. Because there are two basic options in life. Negativity is about hurting people, and positive energy is about helping people. You're either doing the love that helps people in the way you can help, or you're hurting them in some way from the negativity, from the survivalism, from the disconnection from the universe. The universe would guide everyone to help and thrive together. Negative false beliefs divide and conquer us so that we fight each other and we hurt each other. So the start of love is just knowing that you could hurt somebody and you choose not to. Love needs to be a conscious choice. This is why people have free will, because people need to be intending consciously to do the good that they can do. It's not enough to be a robot. Many people are trying to treat each other like robots these days, right? How can I manipulate people? How can I scare them? How can I program them to do exactly what I want them to do? How can I force you? How can I give you no choice but to survive? You have to do what I told you to do. That's just trying to make each other into machines, into robots. And the people who are doing that, thinking that way, they are making themselves into a robot. This is the thing about negative people. We're taught that they have all this bad impact and control over us, but first and foremost, they had to ruin themselves. They had to put themselves into that mental state of just being their own robot, trying to find their way to force and manipulate people. So that's the basic point of compassion. Anyone you see who is acting negatively and destructively, rest assured, everybody else can get away from them. They can't get away from themselves. They have to live that way and think that way all the time. Negativity is its own punishment. We don't want to fixate on how to control and punish negative people. They are already suffering and they are already plenty of their own punishment. Negativity is something you just want to disconnect in yourself and get away from. And the way you do, you start by realizing, like, I could do something negative like those people are doing, and I choose not to. Hey, universe, my soul, what is the positive direction? What can I do that would help people, that would help myself and help others like me? That's when you start building the relationship with your soul, with the universe, and you start getting in the flow of what is truly love. So that there is a positive use of everything in the positive energy of love. Even the negativity becomes an example of what not to do. I call it the Museum of Bad Choices. I had an amazing vision this week of an exhibit in my Museum of Bad Choices. But another way people talk about the Akashic Records. Basically, the universe can maintain a kind of information structure of negativity, of all the incorrect choices, of all the mistakes, of all the things that hurt. The universe will maintain a kind of base level information structure without anybody actually having to live that way. So that's why I like to call it, I think of it as a museum of bad choices, or an Akashic library of the things that you don't want to do this. Maybe somebody tried it, maybe nobody's done it. You don't want to go this way. So it's like having an instruction manual. It's like there's a certain value to having like some do not do instructions. Do not do this. Do not stick your finger in the electrical socket. Do not, stick your tongue on a frozen lamp post in the winter. The things not to do. It still doesn't really tell you what to do. It doesn't really give you a lot of confidence that you can have a great life, but to know basic boundaries of what not to do. That's the value of negativity. So that's going to be the positive outcome of all the trauma that's happening in 2025, is that people realize how many things not to do. Very, very clear examples of what not to do. And it doesn't mean that they have to ruin your life. Just be very clear in yourself. Adapt it, modify it, find it in yourself. What are the things for you to not do? And then ask the universe, so what do I do to love, knowing what not to do? So a little bit of an aside there, but yeah, I wanted to say, let me move right along here. So the idea is that consciousness naturally grows. You step outside of yourself and you observe, what was I just doing? And so this is the spiritual being and this is the human being. These are the two main parts of yourselves. And the spiritual being those are the times when you step back and you reflect. And if you've done your human emotional work, if you've been honest with yourself to feel your feelings without having to react destructively, but take the time in your journaling and your meditations and your reflecting, feeling privately, safely with yourself, get in touch with your human condition. And then you will naturally move with your consciousness to a higher perspective that is more in touch with the universe, and you'll be able to apply your spiritual concepts and get new spiritual guidance, and you'll see the best thing to do, given that your intense emotions said something is not right here. Your human emotions are trustworthy to tell you what is something's wrong here, something's not right. You need your spiritual being to then be in touch with your soul to find out, now that I know what not to do, what do? I need to find my values, my principles. And what we're seeing in the world today is a lot of people who have no principles. They just do whatever they need to do in their mind to survive. Principled behavior is the basis of all life. You have to find your principles. What do you really stand for? I love to help people. I love to tell the truth. I love to be honest and validating of other people. I love to create. You got to find positive values and you stick with them in a principled way. That's the basis of a real relationship with the universe. So the three parts of yourself that work together are your higher self up here. Your higher self is like the form of your soul. Your soul is more of an endless, infinite, amorphous energy of just loving and embracing you, of validating you. Your higher self is a more human, relatable form of your higher wisdom that can come to you and guide you. So you've got your human being in the world, your spiritual consciousness that is reaching for what is the best thing to do in this situation, given that I accept my human condition. And then your higher self will come in and guide you, tell you what you need to do. And the higher self often comes in the form of the people who show up in our life with good ideas, or the synchronicities. Basically, everything that works in your life, your higher self is arranging it. And eventually you can get to a state of literally just talking directly with your higher self. But most people, they're not talking directly to their higher self. That's just too intense. They're building up to it in the form of just, this person said something that really resonated. It resonated because your higher self has been saying that to you, and now you got the words for it. Or, this synchronicity came to me. Yeah, it's because your higher self wanted you to have that opportunity, and your higher self is saying, go for it, go for it. That's more of your real direction in life. All right, so I need to cover more specific topics here. So given that we have these three parts of ourself, and we move from the human being who's kind of lost in the sauce, having the human experience, we move to the spiritual being who can observe more of what is the structure of what's going on here. And that's the goal, to become more conscious of how the universe really works. And the universe does really work. It's wonderful. Life wouldn't exist if there weren't already amazing, fantastic principles of love, of nurturing the universe. It works. So to tap into that, we become more aware of these 4 archetypal levels. This is why I had, us in the check-ins. And anytime you want to ground and center yourself, and we're going to do it a bit in the meditation too, just check in with your physical self. How's my physical self doing? Your emotional self, your feelings, your mental self, your thoughts, and your spiritual self, your values, your inspirations. So when I say it that way, I mean, I want to stay very relatable and understandable. So that's why I talk about it. You know, this is the human view of things, the physical body, our human feelings, our human thoughts, our human values and inspirations. But this is more than just human. This is very archetypal. So really, deeper than our thoughts at the mental level, this is where our belief systems reside. This is where we have these beliefs of what's possible. And you're trying to get positive beliefs, which I picture like a tube. Positive beliefs let the divine principles through. So your soul is always trying to guide you. When you're an animal with just following your instincts, there's no question. You don't even think about this stuff. I mean, animals are wonderful, but they don't have the full conscious free will of really understanding all the possibilities and the choices. They're just going with what works. So as you grow and become more of a spiritual being, you understand more of the possibilities. Now you realize more of your potentials to engage with this. So at the spiritual level, you choose your values and inspirations more consciously. I am a person who cares about this. Other things, you know, those are important. I'm glad people work on them, but this is what I really work on. So you figure out, what are your personal values and inspirations? And then you come into the mental level. That's where you think about, what are my beliefs? What are my values? What are my dreams, my destiny? What does that kick up in me? Where do I think I can work next? And where do I think I'm always blocked? This could never work. So you work on your beliefs. And as human beings, we work on our beliefs by our thoughts. You think of what's possible, and that's why people can get so scared. If you have a negative belief, it's going to tell you, yeah, there's no future, you're going to die, it's going to go off the cliff, all the bad people are going to come directly to your doorstep and do horrible things to you. It's like, no, none of that has to happen. Those are negative beliefs that are telling you it's hopeless, when actually the positive beliefs are telling you, fine, look at the examples of problems in the world, figure out more of your values, figure out more of your most positive beliefs of how things could work out, and then you come down into the emotional level, and this is where you have the human reactions. This is where you have the human emotions, and there are two basic sets of emotions. There are the happy emotions, and that was the title of this meeting, How to Be Happy Again, to become empowered to be happy. So the happy emotions are like a green light. They're saying go. You feel good, you're with good people, you have good things to do, just go, have fun, have a great time. You know, it's like your higher self is saying, like, go for it. Just go down in there, be human, flow, have a great time. And then when your human being kicks back and says, oh no, something's going wrong, I'm getting mad and I'm getting upset and I'm getting sad and I'm getting flashbacks to childhood abuse and whatever, that's when it's time to go back up to the spiritual being and feel those emotions, but you don't have to act on them. Because the next step is when you physically act on things. If your emotions are really upset, don't physically act on things. Just, do what you need to do to express yourself, make some art or whatever, but don't fully act through in a violent way that would be destructive. Go back and work on your belief systems. So there's a sense here of, I hope I'm giving you a clearer sense of, like, there's a human side of you to feel and respect for what it's personally experiencing. There's a spiritual consciousness side of you to step back and see the patterns and see the beliefs that you can personally change, because you're reaching for the values and inspirations that your higher self will guide you to. So you realize more and more, you individuate, you become the person who, like, look, I love all the positive people in the world. I'm so glad everybody works on different things, but this is where I really shine. This is what I really care about. Your higher self will guide you to that. So I want to talk about 4 steps of empowerment. And this is really profound and deep. So, I pitched it today as like, this is the way to leave negative realities. And it is. See, like I said, you are not going to be fully happy, fully satisfied, fully safe and secure until you are working in a relationship with your higher self, with your soul. Always, you get feedback, you get guidance from your human being in the world. Your human experiencer. It's a relationship between your human being is your experiencer and your spiritual being is your decider. So you experience something and then you go and make decisions about it, and then you experience that and go back and forth. So there's a nice feedback loop of human and spirit working together. and you're guided by your higher self and your soul, which connects into the universe, that all fits together. The universe it has a plan, it all works. So you're looking to grow, to become the conscious creator. You need to know, and this is what the ascension is. The ascension is about becoming the creator in the creation. I don't just have to act out and play out, my fate. I can actually make decisions along the way. I can just realize when that's not a healthy thing to do. Let me put that into my museum of bad choices, my do not do list, my, Akashic records of things that I wouldn't do because I need to figure out more of what I would do. That's my love. That's the positive community that I belong in. So 4 steps of evolution of personal power, of learning to create your life. Like I was saying earlier, the idea of everybody's motivated to make their life better somehow. We're all taught these here's how to get rich, here's how to win friends and influence people, here's how to do this, here's how to dress for success. But how to really know that deep down, your personal way of doing things is the most powerful thing you can do. You have a personal relationship with the universe, and when you tap into who you really are and flow with that, you will be golden. Your life will work. Your reality. You don't have to go out there and change people. It will change to be more supportive of you. To believe that may be a stretch, but it's true. So let's look at these 4 levels of empowerment. So the first level, well, let's say that the 0 level is being the human animal. So like I said, there are no more human animals, but the human animal, that's the idea of you need your instincts, you need your guidance, you don't really have free will. And so when people feel completely trapped and completely reactive in their survival reactions, like I got to fight, flight, freeze, or appease, there are 4 main survival reactions, and maybe I'll say what they are in a minute. But the human animal, that's just the state of you're in survival. And it's not appropriate to live always at survival anymore. That's when people get really negative. So the first level that we need to get to is to be the human being. Now the human being, what that means is that you are individuating. You are to be a human being, to move from the human surviving to the human being is to notice that you have a unique personality. What are the things you really like in life? What do you really care about? What really pleases you? Like, I like spaghetti, somebody else doesn't like spaghetti. I like the color blue, somebody else doesn't like the color blue. Just basic things. It can start really simple, but the way to tune into your power, the way to tune into your way of creating your life, you got to start with just noticing what individually, specifically, do you prefer. You got to notice your preferences. That's where it all starts. And preferences are scary for a lot of people, because if you have negative beliefs down the road that say well, you may prefer that, but you can't get that. You would need $1 billion to get that. You need to be this and that. You need to do all these things that you don't prefer first. You may hate working for this company or whatever, but you got to earn the money that maybe someday you can retire and have some of the things you really like. You can have all the spaghetti you want when you retire after you do the day job, something like that. That's what negative beliefs do. Negative beliefs are always selling you on a future vision of how great it will be, but for now, sacrifice, suffer, struggle, work hard, plug into the system, be a good doobie, be a good patriot, whatever, and then someday we'll make America great again. America was already great. Okay, it's like the negative false beliefs, they're the ones that are causing the problem. So, human being, just to realize you have things you prefer. So, at each of these levels, we want to think what is going up, the positive way to take it, and what's going down that would send you back into a crisis of survival. So at the level when you realize you have your preferences, you realize you're vulnerable. This is the beginning of vulnerability. And vulnerability is a very important, beautiful thing. Vulnerability means that you could be helped or you could be hurt. Vulnerability, be in touch with where you could be helped or hurt. That's when you can start noticing what's good for you and what's bad for you. That's when you can start sorting out the belief systems and realize that's a negative false belief. That's going to ruin my life. I'm not going to believe those lies. Versus this is a positive direction of principles and values that I agree with. I want to go this way. You've got to be vulnerable. You don't throw yourself to somebody who's going to hurt you, but you be vulnerable with yourself. So you admit some things are really good for you and some things not so much. So you want to go the positive direction of being happy that I have vulnerabilities. I have things that I prefer. If you get stuck at the human being level, these are the people who say, I need to have this to be happy. This is what makes me happy. All I need to do is focus on getting this. I was happy when I had money. I need to have more money. I need more and more and more. I was happy when I had my favorite food. I need to have a lifetime supply of spaghetti or whatever it is your favorite food is. I need to have a lifetime supply of everything. When you get materialistic, when you get focused on amassing things in a form way, in a materialistic way, just to satisfy your preferences, that's going to put you back in the survivalism. You're going to go down. So what you want to do is you want to go up with the sense of, yay, I found my vulnerabilities. This is what I really prefer. I'm going to thrive if I get more of what I prefer, and I'm going to be unhappy and increasingly just struggling to survive if I don't get what I really prefer. So be glad that you're an individual who has preferences. The next level is the human potential. And this is the level that a lot of people are stuck on also. You can get stuck at the level of being a human being and just hyper-focusing on like, I'm so sad because I don't have this and that's what I need to be happy. Well, just be happy that you even have things that make you happy. Like, go up to the human potential. The human potential level is where you realize there are things I can do to get more of what I like. How can I, what are the rules of the game? What are the ways that I can get more of what I like? So this is the human potential movement of like, think positive, dress well for that interview, make a good impression. This is where you realize you want to improve yourself enough that people will like you and want to work with you. You'll get more of what you want in life if you are an appealing person. So this is where people can focus on like, have a good attitude. Let's fix that, turn that frown into a smile. All this stuff. And you can, so the positive outcome of that is to realize like, hey, I had power. There were things I could do to improve myself so that I would be in a better position to get the things I want. I did a really good job interview. I said good things. I dressed well. I smiled. I said, the 10 whatever things that people should say if you want to please people, if you want them to like you, say this, don't say that. You follow some of your basic rules. That's the human potential movement. So to realize, to get from that, not a sense of like, okay, I need all the perfect lists of how to manipulate and control people. That's the negative direction. You see that a lot on the internet. All these like get-rich-quick schemes they're selling you on like, all those other get-rich-quick schemes, they failed you because it's mind that you need. I have the secret rule that you didn't know about. If you just follow my secret rule, then you're going to be, and you get all excited because you think like, oh, it's all about the rules, following the rules in the human potential movement. The reason why I was a failure because I didn't know the special secret rule to follow. So there are lots of people that get sucked in at the human potential level. But just like the human being level, you wanted to abstract from having preferences. Now I'm glad that I have preferences. I'm a human being who's vulnerable. I have things a direction I want to go in life. At the human potential level, you want to distill the sense of all the rules you could follow and all the things you could do to get your way. I don't want to go the manipulation direction. I want to go the sense of like, there's power. What does personal power feel like? Wow, I want to be more powerful in a good way. I want to be positive powerful. I don't want to be manipulative powerful. So then you go up to the next level, and this is the metaphysical human. And this is where a lot of people get lost. They drop off. It's like, yeah, I can believe that having a good attitude, going to therapy, learning to, deal with my childhood trauma so I'm not always acting like, a PTSD, crazy, scary person. I can paper over my problems and look good in society. That's the human potential level. But the metaphysical level is the level where you are tapping into your personal power and you start to build a relationship with the universe because the source is all powerful. Anything can be done for love. The source is about the love that creates life. If you tap into a relationship with your source, you can do anything. Miracles are possible. This is the metaphysics. When you realize, like, I'm not just looking to manipulate people. I'm looking to maximize my personal power in a relationship with the universe. So this is where you go beyond just like a good attitude will get me the job. This is where I think I visualize the job, and I feel the good energy. I feel the excitement of a future. I'm building the future in my mind. I am a creator. I am designing my own destiny. And then I believe that will change the reality. The reality itself will change the more that I tune into what a good being I am and how I have my own abilities to design a great future and tap into my destiny. So there's a lot of sense of destiny here. There's a lot of sense of the law of attraction, of what you do to be a positive person that actually changes reality. So, like I said, this is where a lot of people get separated from this is more psychology. The human potential movement is more the psychology of being a positive person and people will like you. That's people pleasing. Metaphysics is the level of like, no, don't focus on pleasing people. Please yourself. Tune into your inner universe, your dreams, your destiny, your vision. That actually changes reality. There's a law of attraction that you will meet the things that tune into, that match with your inner vibration. This is where you get into miracles. This is where, like, nobody expected that suddenly I would get this opportunity or that this would show up. But I knew because I was tuning into a great flow of energy and I was visualizing the future and I was calling it in, a sense of calling it in and working through. And this also, the metaphysical level, this is where you're willing to deal with shadow work. You realize, like, at the human potential level, hey, I just needed to paper it over. I needed my PTSD to get treatment enough, take the medication, whatever, so I'm not reacting badly. The metaphysical level, this is where, like, no, the inner work, I need to clear that out. I need to heal that permanently because that's what's creating the problems in my reality. I take responsibility and ownership for my reality. It is showing me the things that I still have in me to clean up. So this is why 2025 can be a very exciting time. Yes, there's scary crap in the world happening, but if you see it at the metaphysical level of these are all reminders and reflections for things I need to heal in myself, I guess I need to dig deeper. I need to really heal things, and then it will be healed in the outside. Your inner being comes first, and then the reality. That's metaphysics. That's really, you're tapping into the real power. Lydia, hold on. Let me finish my thought. And the fourth level, so again, the negative and positive directions. At the metaphysical level, you can go, the negative direction would be people who really get into power trips of like, I am a wizard, I am a, manifester, I can do all this, and like, I will visualize, and my will make the universe, do things, and it becomes, instead of manipulating other people and society at the human potential level, you get these people at the metaphysical level, I'm manipulating the whole universe. My will is so strong and so positive that anything will happen, and I will teach you how to manifest too. That's the negative direction. You're not looking to manipulate the universe. If you do that, you're forgetting the first lesson of being vulnerable, of being a being who has preferences. I would prefer to not have to always drive and force the universe to do my will. I want to be a being who's in relationship with a universe that loves me. And I can just ask for what I want. Ask and it is given. When you really tune into the love of the universe, it just wants you to thrive. Just ask for what you want. Just be able to receive. That's all you really need. The willingness to receive. You don't have to be this power manifester, this power metaphysician who can make things happen. So the fourth level is the spiritual human. And this is the level where you are fully in touch with your soul. You're fully in touch with your higher self and your soul. This is the level at which now you're fully willing to be a vulnerable human being. You don't have to always climb up the ladder and be a power manifester. You can reach a level of like, now I'm working with my higher self. and I know that the universe loves me and it cares. Now I can talk with the universe. I can talk with my guides. I can get some guidance. I can expand my heart and mind a little bit and do my best and leave the rest. Let the source do the rest. So at the spiritual human level, this is where you can really be vulnerable again. You can reach to the highest levels and then you can go back down again. Now I can be a human being again. Yay, hooray. Now I'm more consciously involved with the source of my instincts, the source of my guidance. I'm in a relationship with the universe that loves me. That's the true source of security. To know that I don't have to do everything. The universe doesn't fall apart as soon as I make a mistake. The universe loves me. So now I can be the vulnerable human being again. This is the goal, to be a spiritual human, that you are in touch with the universe for the best direction of guidance, to love, to be the real you. And then knowing that you're backed up by the universe, now you can go down and be a full human in the world. You can practice those spiritual gifts. You can offer the love you have to give. So now you're able to love, you're tuned into your values and inspirations, and you're also willing to love. You see, a lot of people are not willing to love, even the spiritual people, because, hey, if I try today and fail, then I'm really screwed. But, I should wait until someday, until I'm perfect, until I have it all figured out. But when you're really in touch with the universe, when you're a spiritual human with a relationship with the source and your higher self, you're willing to try things. Hey, I just needed to talk to my higher self enough to get the next step, the next guidance that I needed. Oh, now I have a sense of I can work on this. Thank you, higher self. And higher self is going to be with you. Your soul family, your source, everybody's with you all the time. Now you can focus on being a vulnerable human being with something to do, something to accomplish. And you see how that goes. The human emotions give you feedback and you go back up again to fix things, and you come back down again to be in the world, and you go back up and down. Now you get a sense of I am the creator in the creation. I am working with the universe to make the best outcomes happen. Even when things are negative, I can find my way through because I'm continually in touch with the universe guiding me. What's the best outcome here? So negative situations can guide you to realize your values more, to emphasize more, like, oh, that's such a bad example in the world happening. Clearly, I want to focus and commit more than ever to what are my real values and positive desires. I'll bring out more of my dreams and destiny in response to how badly things are going in the world. So 2025, the good outcome is that people realize, like, hey, it's time to bring out my dreams and destiny. I have great things to do here. And the negative is people go under thinking like, well, that's it. I don't have enough power. Whatever my level of power, I don't have enough power. I'm overpowered. So don't be overpowered. Get in touch with the universe that has infinite power and support and love for you.